In the early 2000s, a Spanish beauty with mesmerizing talent stormed Hollywood, captivating hearts on and off the screen. Penelope Cruz's rise to fame brought a trail of high-profile romances, each attracting headlines. Her dating history is full of passion, from global superstars to influential business figures. But who won her heart for good? Which of her famous boyfriends became her husband? And how has their love endured through the years? Join us as we delve into Penelope's captivating relationships. Be prepared, as this is filled with drama, chemistry, and unexpected twists. Penelope Cruz and Nacho Kano. Penelope Cruz was 15 when she began a relationship with Spanish musician Nacho Kano, who was part of the band McConaughey. They met earlier, in 1988, during her first acting job. At 14, she appeared in the music video for McConaughey's song La Fuerza del Destino. Cruz had told them she was 16. Kano later said that she had been picked from several girls who started as actresses, and he remembered telling her, without knowing why, "You are going to be the most important actress in the world." The song became a success, and the video was played often on the Spanish television show Tocada. This brought Cruz's face to the public. Their relationship, however, did not begin until later. Kano shared that they started dating when she was already of legal age. He even recalled that she invited him to dinner. Their connection lasted nearly 10 years, and they worked on several creative projects together. Though their love story lasted about 9 years, their bond deeply impacted them. Kano confirmed that they had been together for a long time and spoke about how meaningful she was to him. Cruz began to appear in films and television, while Kano stepped back from his career to plan his solo path. They lived together in different places, including New York and London. Kano shared that when they moved to the United States, Cruz was just beginning to find her place in Los Angeles. He was the one who helped her find an English teacher, something he said happened by chance. During a conversation with Bertine Osborne, Kano reflected on Cruz's strong qualities. He compared her to Rosalia, saying that women like them, who come from humble backgrounds, show what talent, effort, and hard work can do. He spoke with respect for how Cruz always stayed close to her family. After their relationship ended, she started another high-profile relationship, but with a business figure. Penelope Cruz and Fernando Gigi Sarasola. In 1998, Penelope Cruz, beginning to rise in Spanish cinema, became involved with Fernando Gigi Sarasola. He was a well-known businessman in Spain and had once been an Olympic equestrian. Their relationship followed her long stretch with musician Nacho Kano. It did not last long, but when they were together, the attention from the press was steady. Sarasola came from a powerful family with deep roots in business and politics. His father had ties to the Spanish Socialist Workers' Party, and he moved easily through Madrid's wealthier circles. On the other hand, Cruz was stepping forward in her acting career with roles in films such as Abre los Ojos. The pair seemed to draw curiosity, not just because of who they were, but because they came from such different paths. Cruz was 24 years old, while Sarasola was in his early 30s. They were seen at several social events around Madrid, but the relationship mainly stayed out of the spotlight, away from grand statements or open interviews. What was known came from quiet observations and brief mentions. It was a moment where Cruz stood at the edge of international fame. She was beginning to turn her attention to opportunities in the United States. Sarasola was focused on his direction, leaving competitive sport behind to pursue business. Their short time together reflected a point where two very different lives crossed briefly before moving apart. As a beautiful star, she attracted another high-profile relationship in a short time. Penelope Cruz and Thomas Obermeier. Through the years, many stories have been told about Penelope Cruz's personal life. Her name has often been linked to well-known men, but one relationship that mainly remained out of the spotlight was with Thomas Obermeier. They met while filming The Girl of Your Dreams, directed by Fernando Trueba. This project was important in Cruz's career. The work was intense, the set complete with energy, and the film earned her a Goya for Best Actress. It was such a success that it led to a sequel called The Queen of Spain, which received a quieter response. During the filming, Queen Letizia visited the set. She has maintained a friendly relationship with Cruz. It was on this film that Cruz and Thomas Obermeier began their relationship. He was from the Czech Republic and worked as a third assistant director. Their connection grew slowly and stayed private. Before this, Cruz had dated musician Nacho Kano and later Fernando Gigi Sarasola, a former equestrian from Spain. Those relationships took place during key times in her early film work. Cruz and Obermeier stayed together for around 2 years. The actress rarely spoke about this relationship, but she once opened up in an interview with Hola magazine. She shared that the relationship had ended just 20 days earlier and said it happened over a phone call from Los Angeles. The breakup caused little public reaction, but one moment from their time together drew headlines. A day at the beach ended in topless photographs being taken of Cruz, and the press followed that story more than the relationship itself. Obermeier has continued to work behind the scenes in film and television. His name appears in the credits of several international productions, including The House of Hope, Bohemia, and Munich Games. Other work includes a remake of Joan of Arc and the large-scale production Les Miserables, The Legend Never Dies, where he worked alongside well-known names like Uma Thurman and Geoffrey Rush. For the past 2 decades, Thomas Obermeier has kept a quiet life. He never spoke about his time with Cruz. After their split, some gossip connected her with co-stars, but none of those stories were confirmed. As her career rose, she left many private moments behind, including the brief chapter with the man from Prague. However, it did not attract attention like her relationship with Tom Cruise. Penelope Cruz and Tom Cruise. Penelope Cruz and Tom Cruise first crossed paths in the year 2001 on the set of Vanilla Sky, directed by Cameron Crowe. At the time, Cruz was 38 years old, and Cruz was 26. Cruz was still married to Nicole Kidman when filming began, but he and Cruz have always said their romance did not start until the project ended. In an interview with The Telegraph in the year 2008, Cruz said she had never fallen in love with someone while working together, only after. 6 months after Entertainment Weekly reported that Cruz had filed for divorce. He and Cruz made their relationship public in July of 2001. According to Cruz's longtime publicist, he invited Cruz to his 39th birthday party on July 6th. From that point on, they were seen together often. Even though they kept much of their relationship away from the public eye, their words about each other gave a glimpse into their bond. During a press conference for Vanilla Sky, Cruz spoke warmly about Cruz, describing his kindness and how much he cared about the people around him. In 2003, Cruz gave an interview to Marie Claire, describing how he enjoyed surprising Cruz with small gestures. He talked about preparing her favorite meals and drawing a bath when she came home. He said she enjoyed his cooking and that those little things were important to him in a relationship. Unfortunately, the relationship ended quietly. Though the breakup became public in March of 2004, it had already happened in January. Cruz's publicist called the separation friendly. Cruz's team said they still spoke often, and no third person was involved. Someone close to the pair told people that their time together had simply ended, and that most of the relationship was spent working in different countries. There were later reports that Cruz's beliefs may have clashed with the Church of Scientology. In a 2012 article for Vanity Fair, journalist Maureen Orth suggested that Cruz did not fully accept the church's expectations, which may have caused tension. Her connection to Buddhism was noted as a possible issue with the church's leadership. Still, in a 2006 interview with The Guardian, Cruz expressed gratitude for what she had learned through Scientology. She spoke kindly about Cruz, his children, and his family, saying that those who had shown her kindness would always have her loyalty. Even after the breakup, they have been seen in public occasionally. Though one report in 2009 described an awkward encounter at a party, they were later spotted having dinner in London in 2015 with Salma Hayek. The story between Cruz and Cruz may have ended long ago, but their respect appears to have remained. Another significant part of her romantic life came later, her relationship with Matthew McConaughey. Penelope Cruz and Matthew McConaughey. Penelope Cruz and Matthew McConaughey met in Morocco during the filming of Sahara, an action comedy shot in the year 2005. At that point, both were well known in their own ways, though not always taken seriously in the American film world. Already respected in Europe, Cruz had been typecast in the United States as little more than a glamorous face. McConaughey, meanwhile, was in the middle of a long run of romantic comedies that had become his trademark, a pattern he did not break until several years later. Their relationship lasted until 2006. After their breakup, official statements blamed busy schedules and time apart, but behind those words, there were other speculations. According to a published biography titled Matthew McConaughey, the biography, the actor may have first encountered his future wife, Camilla Alves, while still dating Cruz. In his own words, McConaughey described the moment he saw Alves at Hyde Lounge in West Hollywood. He recalled thinking that she was not someone to wave over from across the room, and instead, he walked across the space to meet her. He said they had their first date 3 nights later, and from that moment on, he had no interest in dating anyone else. At the same time, McConaughey insisted he had been single when he met Alves, making parts of the biography confusing or possibly exaggerated. After their split, both Cruz and McConaughey followed very different paths, but each found success. In early 2007, Cruz received her first Academy Award nomination for her work in Volver. She won the award in 2009 and was nominated again in 2010. McConaughey, in turn, gradually moved away from romantic comedies. He took on more demanding roles and, in 2013, won the Academy Award for Dallas Buyers Club. From there, he performed strongly in True Detective, Interstellar, and White Boy Rick, which also appeared at the Toronto International Film Festival that year. Camilla Alves became a significant part of McConaughey's life after they met in 2006. They had their first child, Levi, in 2008, followed by Vida in 2010, and Livingston in 2012. The couple married shortly before their third child was born. While Penelope and Matthew's story ended quietly, it marked a brief moment when 2 actors stood at the edge of new personal and professional chapters. Nevertheless, that was not the end of romantic affairs for Cruz. She got into another high-profile relationship with the infamous music mogul, Sean Diddy Combs. Penelope Cruz and Sean Diddy Combs. Penelope Cruz and Sean Combs were first seen together in early September of 2001 at the Music Television Video Music Awards. That evening began a brief relationship that drew heavy press interest. Coming off roles in American films like Vanilla Sky, Cruz was quickly becoming one of the most talked-about actresses of her generation. Combs, already an established figure in music and fashion, had built an empire through Bad Boy Records and his growing brand. They appeared together at several high-profile events through late 2001 into the following year. Photographers often caught them close, smiling or deep in conversation at fashion shows and exclusive parties. Their different backgrounds added to the attention. She, a European actress making her mark in Hollywood, and he, a businessman rooted in the American hip-hop scene. The mix fascinated the media. Despite no official statements, their body language spoke loudly during those months. By mid-2002, their connection had faded. The split was quiet, without headlines or public arguments. Years later, in a New York Times interview published in the year 2011, Combs called Cruz a great girl and said he had nothing but respect for her. Cruz, for her part, referred to Combs as a great guy and added that she shared a lot of love with him during that time. Their words showed a lasting warmth that stood out in a world where most celebrity breakups turn cold quickly. Some stories suggested they saw each other again briefly in 2007, when Cruz modeled for Combs' clothing line, Sean, by Sean Combs. No photos or confirmations tied them back together romantically, and it passed without much comment. What stood out about Cruz and Combs was the ease with which they handled their public attention. There were no scandals, accusations, or sudden endings. Their short time together was marked by care and respect, both during and after. After Diddy, who is the next man to come into her life, and how has their relationship evolved over the years? Let's see the last man standing in the life of a beauty who attracted attention from influential businessmen and superstar colleagues. Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem, an enduring love. Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem are among the few power couples in Hollywood whose marriage has stood the test of time. They met in the year 1992 on the set of Jamón Jamón. She was 16, stepping into a world that already felt too adult. He was older and more experienced, but they carried something heavy in their shared scenes. Javier Bardem would speak about it years later in an interview with GQ United Kingdom, calling the film a record of their early connection. He joked that their children would see it one day and realize that the movie was part of their beginning. He also admitted that if his daughter came home at 16 with a script like that, he would have said no without hesitation. He admired Penelope's parents for their bravery. Despite what played out on screen, nothing happened between them then. they drifted into different directions, worked on other projects, and lived other lives. It was not until they reunited for Vicky Cristina Barcelona that something finally shifted. Both were older, both more private. Javier would later admit that neither of them moved during the entire shoot. Maybe it was shyness, or they were trying too hard to stay professional. It was only on the last day, at a wrap party thrown by a friend, that the silence between them broke. Drinks were involved. So was timing. From there, things quietly changed. In the fall of 2007, gossip began. A report from Page 6 mentioned Penelope's new companion, noting that she had been careful not to reveal too much. At the New York Film Festival, they had arrived together. Observers said they held hands when they thought no one was looking. She kissed him on the cheek. He placed his arm around her. Something was unfolding, but they were not giving anything away. By October, photos began surfacing. They had slipped away to the Maldives, walking along a quiet beach. The expressions in those pictures said more than any interview ever would. During the press tour for Vicky Cristina Barcelona, Penélope Cruz and Javier Bardem repeatedly said that nothing romantic happened between them. Even as reporters asked and headlines hinted, they stayed quiet. Still, the cameras kept catching them at airports, restaurants, outside hotels. The photos kept piling up. Javier later spoke about Penelope with a kind of open wonder. He said she reminded him of Maria Elena, the character she played in the film. In one interview, he laughed about the scenes where they were fighting, where she was throwing plates and shouting. He said he had to ask himself if he was ready for that energy, but he called it loving blood, her need to feel everything fully, her fire. He said there was a difference between being beautiful and being truly magnetic. To him, she was both. When Penelope won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, she stood on that stage with a quiet, calm smile. She thanked the other nominees and the people she had worked with. She did not mention Javier. By then, the rumors had not stopped. That same year, reports said the two were engaged, though neither of them ever confirmed it. In December of 2009, paparazzi caught them walking together in Los Angeles and swimming off the coast of Fernando de Noronha, a small island in Brazil. About a year and a half after the film came out, they sat courtside at a Lakers game in Los Angeles. Again, they said nothing. Nearly 10 years later, Penelope said in an interview that their decision to stay silent was one of the best things they ever agreed on. Speaking publicly about their relationship would have felt strange and forced, but she could not imagine doing it any other way. Their first formal appearance together came in 2010 at the Goya Awards. They had already been together for 3 years, but this was the first time they showed up as a couple at an industry event. Not long after that, they went to the Academy Awards. They stayed apart on the red carpet, but photos from backstage showed them close together. They went to another Lakers game after that. Javier wore a black baseball cap pulled low over his face, but cameras still found him. At the 63rd Cannes Film Festival, Javier won Best Actor for his role in Beautiful. This time, he did not keep quiet. In his speech, he looked out into the crowd and said he wanted to share his joy with his friend, partner, and love, Penelope. He told her he owed her much and loved her deeply. In July of 2010, they were married. It was a quiet ceremony in the Bahamas, held at the home of a close friend. No press, no photographers, no announcement, just the two of them, away from everything else. In 2010, Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem began showing up together in public. Most often, they were seen sitting courtside at Lakers games, quietly enjoying the space that the games allowed. At that time, Penelope was 8 months pregnant. In January of 2011, they became parents to their first child, a son named Leo. Years later, Penelope spoke about those early months of motherhood in an interview with Harper's Bazaar. She admitted that even though she had dreamed of becoming a mother since she was a little girl, nothing prepared her for the emotional change. She called it a shock, but one that brought deep peace. She said that loving someone so much that they always come first changes you in the best way. Before Leo was born in December of 2010, Penelope and Javier made a rare public appearance at the 83rd Academy Awards. It was the first event Penelope attended after giving birth. Javier had been nominated for Beautiful, but did not win that night. At the 2011 Goya Awards, Javier took home the Best Actor award and spoke with emotion. He dedicated the honor to his wife and son, saying they woke up his heart and made him smile daily. Penelope was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame that same year. Javier, Jerry Bruckheimer, Johnny Depp, and Rob Marshall stood beside her. In her speech, she thanked Javier and Leo for making her happy daily. Later in 2011, Penelope and Javier shared a light moment in public when they danced together on stage during a Prince concert, part of his Welcome to America tour. They kept a quiet presence after that. Then, they appeared again at the Toronto International Film Festival more than a year later. In a GQ cover story published in September of 2012, Javier spoke openly about his personal life. He said he was a happy man, calm and grateful. Of his son Leo, he said that having a child made him feel like he was seeing everything for the first time. He said it was like discovering the world repeatedly through Leo's eyes. That same year, Penelope and Javier worked together again on The Counselor, directed by Ridley Scott. They were photographed filming scenes in Tudela, Spain. This time, they did not play a couple in the film. Penelope's character is in a relationship with Michael Fassbender, while Javier plays a substance dealer, one of many in the film's storyline. Javier's profile grew even larger that year, with the release of Skyfall. He played Raul Silva, the villain in the James Bond film. After the world premiere, Penelope and Javier attended the after-party at the Tate Modern in London. Director Sam Mendes remembered how natural they were together. He said that watching them side by side felt like they belonged to each other. He said they were grounded in a way that stood out. As Javier's role in Skyfall brought him more attention, articles began to examine how he managed his career. One publicist, quoted in a piece for Vulture, pointed out that Javier was not chasing fame. He avoided events unless they were tied directly to his work. He rarely made appearances, said no more than yes, and seemed uninterested in the usual paths taken by most public figures. Even though he was married to Penelope Cruz, a global star, he kept much of his life out of reach. In February of 2013, Penelope appeared on Spanish television and confirmed she was pregnant with their second child. She said she was filled with happiness and looked forward to the future. That future arrived quietly 2 days after she was photographed in Madrid. On July 22, 2013, Penelope and Javier welcomed their daughter, Luna Encinas. Over the years, this power couple has adopted a unique way of raising their kids. Let's find out how they do it. Raising kids together. Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem have clarified that they want to keep their children's lives private. In a February 2019 interview with Marie Claire, Cruz explained that although she was not in a rush to become a mother, she had always known she really wanted to be a mother. She emphasized the importance of protecting her children from the public spotlight. Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem welcomed their first son, Leo Encinas Cruz, on January 2011 in Los Angeles. A statement released by their representatives at the time confirmed, Penelope and Javier welcomed their first son into their family last week. Both parents and baby are doing great. Before Leo's birth, Bardem was the first to address the pregnancy, confirming in September 2010 that Cruz was expecting. He shared, "I am very happy." In May 2011, Cruz briefly discussed her new role as a mother during an interview with Vogue. Asked how motherhood had changed her, she replied, "From the first second, you feel so much love." She described the experience as revolutionary, saying, "It transforms you completely, in a second. Even if you have heard from all your friends and family, this is what's going to happen. Until it happens to you, it's hard to understand in your soul." Cruz also expressed her desire to protect her son's privacy. She explained, "I want my son and my kids, if I have more, to grow up in a way that is as anonymous as possible. The fact that his father and I have chosen to do the work that we do doesn't give anybody the right to invade our privacy." Despite her demanding career, Cruz has prioritized being a hands-on mother. She spoke about this shift in focus in a July 2017 interview with The Telegraph, saying, "My priorities have really changed over the years. I want to raise my kids and don't want to be away from them." Bardem shares a similar sentiment, emphasizing the importance of time with family in an interview with The Talks. "I am getting older, so the things I appreciate most now, to be a good dad, to be the best husband I can be, which is the hardest thing in the sense that you have to put your attention into it and give time and love to the people that you really love and care about." he said. "Time is everything. Time is quality, especially for kids." The couple is also committed to keeping their children's lives private. Cruz told The Telegraph, "You will never see a picture of my kids on Instagram." In an interview with the Columbia Broadcasting System's Sunday Morning, she said she is very tough with technology regarding her kids. While she allows them to watch movies occasionally, she shared, "That has been some incredible moments of happiness since I was a little girl." Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem welcomed their second child, daughter Luna Encinas Cruz, on July 22, 2013, in Madrid. When Luna was 5 months old, Cruz shared her postpartum routine in a December 2013 interview with Allure. She spoke about breastfeeding, mentioning that it requires extra calories, and revealed her intention to breastfeed Luna for as long as she did with her son. Cruz told Vogue Arabia that her main role model is her children in November 2021. She explained that their parents' actions matter most to them, describing it as a big responsibility and her greatest mission. She also shared a touching story about Luna's reaction when she won the Volpi Cup for Best Actress at the Venice Film Festival. Luna asked why Cruz was crying when she received the award, prompting Cruz to explain its significance. Luna had another sweet moment in January 2023 when she found out her father would play King Triton in Disney's live-action adaptation of The Little Mermaid. On The Jess Cagle Show, Bardem shared that Luna got emotional, asking if he would be playing Triton. This is not the first time their children have influenced their career choices. Bardem also participated in Lyle, Crocodile in 2022, sharing in an October interview that he wanted to make a movie his kids could watch and be proud of. Over the years, Penelope has captivated hearts with her beauty on and off screen. Her private lifestyle is what many celebrities could only dream of. What do you think about her approach to parenting? Let's hear from you in the comments. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Kindly click the next video on your screen.